17 hidden secrets and mechanics that they don't really tell you about anywhere. And these are guaranteed to significantly improve your gameplay. Are you ready? Let's dive into it. First and foremost, we have an OG interaction that you see across a lot of games that really surprised me the first time around. As you might know, there are gadgets in Battlefield that will set you on fire, which also stuns you and deals significant damage over time, which might kill you. In addition to having a healing kit nearby to heal you up as soon as your suppression ends, throwing a smoke onto yourself or onto the ground will immediately stop the fire, which might end up saving you or a teammate's life. If you're a vehicle player, especially a jet or heli player, then you might be thrilled to know that the lock-on missiles that would normally require you to be looking towards your target with your entire chopper now can be aimed while using third-person look. This lets you do a drive-by and then snipe at a target without worrying about crashing onto the ground. This next one is less of a mechanic necessarily, but it's still worthwhile to know, and it's more of a secret, I guess. Apparently, your hipfire accuracy is directly tied to your shotgun spread in the current build of the game. So if you stand still, or if you crouch or even prone, your hipfire reticle gets significantly tighter. If you use a laser or any other attachment that improves your hipfire, then it gets even tighter, to the point where you could liken it to a slug round at certain ranges, especially when prone. Speaking of which, the laser itself is insanely strong in Battlefield 6. While it lowers your spread and slightly blinds enemies, it turns out that it's actually even stronger than its effect on your crosshair really suggests. The spread itself is much tighter than what the bloom implies, and it turns the slug shotgun into near perfect accuracy even when you're hip firing. It's an almost must-have if you have space on your gun. Just be careful about keeping the laser on if you're running through smokes or doing ready plays, because this will turn you into a very easy target. Additionally, due to how tight hip firing is when you are moving, as long as the laser is enabled, this also allows you to pull off the craziest movement techniques, including button hopping around or jump shotting around corners, while still having that pinpoint accuracy, which lets you surprise your enemies and secure kills that you probably shouldn't have. Another hidden addition to Battlefield 6 that I assume is new to the franchise, since I never knew about it, is slow peeking. If you aim down sights when opening a door, you will slowly open it instead of swinging it open. This lets you slowly work the angles as you make your way in without overexposing yourself, and since a door that's slowly opening or closing can't be interacted with until the animation has played, it also has the added benefit of acting as sort of a lock to stop sweaty COD players from barging through it. Something else that I really wish I knew earlier before dying to it over and over again is that exiting a vehicle plops you out in the direction that you currently are looking. So if you're looking towards the enemy tank that's about to shoot you and then exit, odds are they're gonna blow you up. However, if you look the other direction before exiting, you will get out of the tank completely unscathed. In the same vein, exiting jets doesn't have to be a death sentence either. If you bail right before hitting the ground, then you won't actually take any fall damage. While on the subject of vehicles, I wanted to mention that you can climb on top of most vehicles in Battlefield and just kind of stand on them. You don't get kicked off when they start driving, flying, or anything. This lets you hitch a ride, go for a fun clip, or act as a proper engineer just lying down on top of a tank while constantly healing it up. Additionally, if you are a support player, you can also throw your medkit down on top of the roof of that vehicle, which lets you turn that very vehicle into sort of an ambulance for nearly teammates that might be taking cover around it. Speaking of moving fast though, bringing out your knife will let you run significantly faster. A quick test by the creator SMK Gaming shows that clearing 100 meters with the standard weapon out will take about 16.69 seconds, but only 14.04 seconds with the knife out. That puts you at a sprint speed of about 7.12 meters a second with the knife out versus the 5.99 with the weapon out. And obviously keep in mind that if you sprint with some weapons, such as the LMGs, if you aren't a support player, that makes you run even slower. That being said, running with your knife ends up letting you sprint about 20% faster as you've been running just decent weapons, which lets you rotate from spawn or from point A to B that much faster. In order to pull the knife out, all you need to do is hold the melee key, that's F on PC, a little bit longer than the initial animation. Next up is something that's definitely known by Battlefield veterans, but probably not as obvious to anyone who's new to the franchise. When using the supported defibrillator gadget, charging it up and holding the fire key will allow you to instantly revive one teammate and bring them back to full health rather than at half health. In the same vein, charging these paddles up will let you deal 100 damage to instantly kill an enemy assuming you're close enough, rather than the 50 damage tickle it would do otherwise. Moving on to something that definitely is new in this iteration of Battlefield and going off the recent drama with Riley CS, it seems to be something that most people still don't know about. As of Battlefield 6, both controller and mouse and keyboard players can now bind a either 90 degree or even 180 degree instant turnaround You can easily do this by going into your settings. I recommend at least turning on the 180-degree spin on a button that you can reach easily, especially if you're on a lower sensitivity, since it lets you do a full swipe, but still be ready to shoot when you have finished turning, rather than having to go for a full reset if you're a keyboard player, or you just kind of struggle when you're a control player. Besides, it looks really suspicious when you do it, which is always really fun. Another must-have setting, and I'm sorry, I never covered some of these before, but this one is just too important not to mention, is the compass. By default, the compass is disabled, which stops you from getting a lot of vital information, such as enemy pings or just a general sense of direction. Not to mention that the in-game announcer or radio voice keeps warning you about tanks or snipers or other important piece of information in certain cardinal directions without ever giving you a chance to figure out where exactly that is, assuming it is turned off. And you can turn on the compass just by going in here in the settings. Next up is an actual in-game mechanic that a lot of people miss out on, which ends up costing their team a lot of valuable tickets and control of the map and inevitably losing the game. What I'm talking about is respawning. As soon as you get knocked, your respawn timer will start ticking, whether you skip to the revive to get to the menu early or not. I suggest sticking around for a little while after dying and giving your teammates the chance to bring you back up, and if nothing changes or they're not coming for you, or just enough time has elapsed, then you can skip to the revive. Instantly skipping to revive after dying serves no purpose. It doesn't save any time. You might as well stay on the ground for about 5 seconds before skipping, just to make sure you exhaust all your options, because there's no reason to skip it. In the same vein, not many know that holding the request medic button actually extends how long it takes you to bleed out, so if you want to stay up even longer, now you know. Another mechanic that's been making the rounds in this iteration of Battlefield that we haven't seen for quite some time is the so-called sweet spot mechanic. The sweet spot is a bolt action sniper rifle only mechanic that raises the damage of your shots the farther away your target is, giving you the ability to one-shot an enemy in the torso if they are far away enough or in the so-called sweet spot. Supposedly, the distance to the sweet spot varies between every weapon, most likely based on their bullet velocity, as damage falloff seems to be correlated with that as well from my own initial testing. And in the case of the M2010, which is the only sniper rifle in the beta at this moment, the sweet spot seems to kick in around 90 to 100 meters. You can easily abuse this by taking positions that intentionally are around 100 meters or farther away from the enemy battle line or objective, after which you no longer really need to go for headshots or really struggle with aiming at all. Something else that is entirely new is how climbing works in Battlefield 6. I guess this was bound to happen with the introduction of an entirely new kinetic movement system, but it's worth learning because the things that climbing specifically allows you to do are insane. Climbing in Battlefield starts out simple. If it's about yay height, you can climb it low enough and you can vault it. That means that if you're trying to climb really high up on a mountain, you can do that, as long as it has ledges you can grab onto on the way. Learning where these ledges are will let you creatively scale the mountains as long as it is within bounds. But this extends to cities and even props as well. Most props like these ACs, the ledges, signs, or lights, really anything sticking out of buildings will break if you hit them with, gunshots or too much momentum, like if you sprint into them or if you land on them too hard or if you're queso. However, you can still climb onto them by getting within vault range and then just vaulting on top of them and then standing on top of them. And you can even move around or jump onto another ledge to keep climbing forwards or upwards, as long as you don't get too close to that very ledge to break it. If you keep chaining these vaults or climbs together, then you can climb from the bottom of a street all the way up to a rooftop, most infamously on Siege of Cairo. This, combined with the assault ladders that we're getting in the second week of the beta, will let you always stay on the move and surprise your enemies from the most random angles. I'm really excited for this round of the Battlefield beta, and I cannot wait to see you all in the stream. If this video does well, then we have tons more videos to upload for you guys, so make sure to subscribe for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.